Hey, what's good with y'all? What's good? Hey, what's good with y'all? It's the Thawahgabar for Black Authentic Truth. Trying to go a little earlier than I usually go. Of course, black people is always on black people time, always late to everything. And I need to get that in order. I need to get that in check. That's the last week, um, I've been able to get to work on time. I'm usually like 5, 10, 15 minutes late, sometimes 30 minutes late, but I'm been able to focus and it's all about discipline, right? For anything to be on time. And likewise with going live, I got to get a little more discipline. Yes, definitely got to get a little more discipline. As far as today is another Sunday. I hope everybody's Sunday is going well. My Sunday is going to Wob. That's good in Hebrew. My Sunday is, it's a nice day today. Of course, it's going to be another hot day. But other than that, man, just glad to be here. Thankful that I got my mind. I'm in my right mind. I got my health. Just for the little things, right? Um, so it's a couple things I want to go into. This won't be, a super long live like how it is when I go. Sometimes I have multiple stories, but I do have a lot of stories. I don't think it'll go that long though. But gonna get into Tyler Perry. I forgot to speak on that last week. Reparations, the history of white Europeans. And notice I say white Europeans because the original Europeans or the people in those regions were dark skinned, and we'll get into that. Excuse me. But yeah, man, hopefully everybody will tap in. I know people are usually used to me going a little later than this, probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours later. But I just wanted to knock this out, and moving forward, I will possibly try to go even earlier, go live even earlier, and get it in. Hey, what's good? Black Rain 303, Sister Baratanawa, always rocking with me. I appreciate y'all. So yeah, I will try to go earlier. Moving forward, I'm gonna try to. I'm aiming for. Like I said, once again, this falls under discipline, but I'm aiming for, go live about, between the hours of 10 and 12 p.m. just for the East Coast, go a little earlier so that more people can participate and be in my lives. It's something that I want to do. It's something I've been thinking about doing, and I need to execute that. Right, like I said, black people be on black people time, and so you know who knows when it comes to us. Give me 1 second. Y'all, give me 1 second, real quick. Let me grab something. What am I looking for? I'm gonna have to get up. Let me see. Yeah, y'all give me 1 second, and we're gonna get right back into it. And I am back. I'm back. Before I get started, like I said, that my Sunday is going good. How is everybody's Sunday out there? How is your Sunday going? How is your Sunday going? Oh yeah, I made this shirt. It's not on the website, but back to authentic history. What y'all think about that? What you think about the shirt? It's fly, right? What I mean, I've been trying to innovate and create and come up with ideas, and this is something that I designed from the ground up. Of course, the idea of Back to the Future, I didn't design, I didn't create, but I like to have an input in everything that I'm putting out so that you know that I had a hand in it and it is authentic to the core. Damn my throat. It's authentic to the core. It's all me. It's all Thawahgabar, my input, my creativity, my mind. You know what I mean? So, and I thought that it would only look good in black. I don't think it'll look good in white, but it looks good in black, right? Anyway, thank y'all. Thank y'all. Appreciate it, M Gaines and Black Rain 303. Good to hear your Sunday is going well. All right. So I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to get into the first video where we're going to go into this is sister that is talking about mental health. Thank you, Sister Barathanawa. Thank you. This is talking about mental health. And this is, I suppose this sister is an expert on it because this is her field of study and her field, her profession. Okay, let me grab this.
Mental health for where it is it's at an all-time high, and that is great. But some of these trends, they are making people worse, not better. Let's talk about it because I got three that's top of mind. The first one is turning labels into identity. Labels were meant to be for understanding, not a personality, but today people are branding themselves with their diagnosis. And even when you think about, like, I have ADHD, so I can't focus. I have an anxious attachment, so I can't trust people. Instead of working through things, people are actually using the labels to justify staying the same. And in some cases,
That's crazy. I just needed to stop it right there because people do brand themselves with their diagnosis, and I never thought of that. And this is, educating to me. You ever heard people say like, "Yeah, I'm crazy. I'm crazy." You say, "Well, why you do that?" They say, I'm crazy," or I'm bipolar. That's why I did it. And people really carry that as a means to say, or for you to excuse them or excuse their bad behavior. Like, I'll take it even further when it comes to the zodiac signs. People will use the zodiac sign and say, "Well, I'm this, I'm a Sagittarius, and that is a way to excuse their bad behavior. So you never really have to deal, or they're never held accountable for how they really are." What she's saying makes a lot of sense. I've never thought about it like that. As far as people brand themselves with the issue that they have, and so they're clear of accountability because now you're not blaming them. You're just blaming the fact that they have something like ADHD or they're bipolar as the reason why they act the way they act.
is like using it to weaponize like some of their relationships. The second one is, and I'll keep saying it, pathologizing normal life struggles. Not every challenge is trauma. Not every difficult person is a narcissist. Not every workplace is toxic just because you don't like your boss. Life is hard sometimes. That doesn't mean it's harming you. But when you pathologize normal struggles, you rob yourself of the ability to actually navigate them. And then the third one is,
Like that's what we do in the Black community, right? We make everything a struggle. We make everything hard when some things are just basic ups and downs of life. Some things are supposed to be hard, like part of life. You know what I mean? Like, trying to get a job, or trying to get a vehicle, or trying to get yourself right so that you can get an apartment and get on your feet. These are normal things that a lot of people go through. And so they're not necessarily like, struggles that nobody don't know. So, when you see somebody that is like, they're so down on themselves because of what they're going through, and you like, bro, like, I done been through that. Like, it's not that hard, it's not that difficult. Yes, it's a process though. Yes, a process, but if thousands of people are doing it, and there's plenty of examples right in your community of people, coming from the bottom and you and getting something as simple as a job. I'm now be clear. I'm not talking about coming from the bottom and becoming a professional athlete. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about regular life, regular, a 9 to 5 job, that simple stuff. I'm not talking about if you came from the bottom and you got a scholarship and you became a high powered lawyer or doctor. That those type of stories are very minuscule. They're like one in a million type of stories where people become super successful. I'm not talking about that example, but what the point that is being made is that we do make regular life, like life struggles, something that is so big, and we kind of like blow it out of proportion, right? Let me see. Hey, what's good, Renee?
Is this obsession with feeling seen, heard, and validated. At some point, we stopped striving for growth and we just started chasing external validation. The need to be constantly seen, heard, and understood has become an emotional crutch. Here's the truth. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will validate you. And that's not a threat to your well being. The obsession with external validation is keeping people emotionally fragile instead of teaching them how to stand firm in who they are, even when no one claps for them. And I know that I said 3, but here's a bonus one, because what the hell is even a safe place? Life doesn't come with trigger warnings. Growth requires friction. If you constantly need environments that cater to your emotions, you're not building mental strength. You're building dependence. True safety comes from knowing you can handle yourself in any space, not just the ones that feel good. Mental health should strengthen you, not weaken your ability to handle and or engage with life. Okay?
She said a lot of stuff that part of the reason that this exists is because of social media. She said people have that need to be validated. That need for validation is so bad at this point that you virtually have people that are naked online. You virtually have people that are doing stupid things and doing things that they can get themselves killed. Well, you know all the trends that go on social media. It's because of the need to be seen and the need for validation. You got to be validated in some type of way. You have to be. People have to talk about you in some type of way. People have to like your post, right? Like to be. You have to be validated, and so you're going to do the thing, whether it makes you look crazy in the end, whether it makes you look stupid in the end, whether it puts your life in danger in the end, you're going to do that thing so that people can see online and people can validate you and you can get that attention that you're seeking. Many people done lost their life trying to get attention online. Many people done destroyed their relationships and marriages trying to get attention online and be validated online and worry about what people got online. Many people have ran up credit cards and gone broke trying to go on this trip and that trip and post it online. The need to be seen, the need to be validated, the attention seeking. Also, she spoke about the safe space. I recently put this video up. Was it yesterday I put the video up where you have a woman talking about sleeping with 100 men. That doesn't mean that she's a hoe just because she sleeps with 100 men. It's, she's selective in the men that she's sleeping with. So I guess that's a difference in her mind. But just the comfortability to come online and you see women proclaim their promiscuous activity like it ain't nothing. That's because there's a safe space for whores. There's a safe space for women to be this way. America, this society has made it a safe space. Like she said, what she's a mental health professional saying, what does that mean? What the hell is a safe space? You need to be able to stand on your 10 toes and believe in what you believe in. There should be no safe space for you to be able to thrive and believe what you believe. You should be able to believe what you believe, whether anybody agrees with you or not. And if they don't agree with you, then hey, maybe you should look at that, right? We need to take away the safe space for people being okay with Black people doing drugs, being on drug. I mean, I'm sorry, selling drugs. And what else? What's the other one? Being a whore, sleeping around with everybody. This goes for men and women. It ain't just women, but the point is that there's this idea of, okay, you only live once. Okay, don't judge nobody. Don't look at. She's just because she sleeps with a lot of men. She's not a hoe. Like what? They created a safe space. And like if you and so that messes with the mentality of a person, and the person thinks they're right when really they're sick in the inside. And so all of these things, many of them, of course, it doesn't necessarily tie into social media, but I feel like many of these things have gotten maximized because of social media. Let me see what Black Rain said. He said the LGBT mob people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that, right? They don't want to hear that. Yeah, people call that an escort because let's say you're sleeping around, but it's just not with everybody in the neighborhood. You're doing it with distinguished, high value men. It's no difference. It's no difference at all. Right? Let me get this next video. Let me see. But you can see from that video that there's a lot of things that we believe in and we stand on that don't help us in the long run as far as our mental health. Remove this. Where we going next? Now, that's what I want to now. Well, I'm going to go to the article. All right. Tyler Perry. Okay. Let's get Tyler Perry. I'm going to read from the article, go into it just a little bit. Let me see. Tyler Perry accused of sexual harassment and workplace gender violence. Okay, the media mogul faces allegations. I'm sure you already heard of this. This is like a week old. Like I said, I wanted to talk about this, just go over it real quickly because I forgot to speak on it last week. Media mogul faces allegations of creating corrosive sexual exploitative dynamics in lawsuit seeking 260 million in damages. That's a lot of money. Tyler Perry has been accused of sexual harassment, workplace gender violence, and sexual assault in a lawsuit from an actor who said the media mogul used his influence and power to create a coercive, sexually exploitative dynamic. It says in the suit filed in Los Angeles last week, first reported on Tuesday, Derek Dixon, who worked on Tyler Perry. I got to get a picture of Derek Dixon. I know that he's a white man, but I just want to get a picture of him, right? It says, well, you know what? I'm going to get the picture and put it up while I read so we can have a visual of this man. Let me see if I can. See if we can put this up. There we go. Jesus. Tyler Perry. You want him some white meat, huh? Let me get back to the article. It says, in the suit filed in Los Angeles last week and first reported on Tuesday, Derek Dixon, who worked on Tyler Perry's show Ruthless and The Oval, I've never seen none of them, said Perry promised career advancement, but subjected him to escalating sexual harassment, assault, and battery. Dixon alleges he was subjected to harassment and abuse by Perry while he held direct control over his employment, compensation, and creative opportunities, and that he faced retaliation when he did not respond favorably to his advances. Perry, the billionaire, that's why it's 260 million. He's a billionaire. Perry, the billionaire star of the Medea film series is one of the most powerful figures in Hollywood with his own film and TV studios in Atlanta and a partnership with the Oprah Winfrey Network. Major studios frequently film movies on his lot. Okay, so he's constantly making money because they're using that land that he has purchased to film movies. He has denied the allegations, and his lawyer described it as a shakedown. This is an individual who got close to Tyler Perry for what now appears to be nothing more than setting up a scam, Matthew Boyd, Perry's attorney, said in a statement to media. But Tyler will not be shaken down, and we are confident these fabricated claims of harassment will fail. The lawsuit alleges that Perry has a troubling pattern of exploiting, vulnerable male actors and employees, and that, like Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, and Sean P. Diddy Combs, Mr. Perry's success has led him to believe that money and influence can get him whatever he wants. Let me see if there's any more. Should I read? It says, I'll read a little more. It says Tyler Perry has been using his power and influence to molest, abuse, and sexually assault impressionable and vulnerable employees and actors who look to him for guidance and mentorship. That sounds familiar. The lawsuit states the pair met in 2019 while Dixon, who was working for an events company, was at an opening party for Perry's studio, according to the lawsuit. Perry allegedly picked Dixon out of a crowd of employees. Perry, out of a crowd, out of a crowd of employees present at the party, and began asking Dixon questions about his employment status and whether plaintiff Dixon was an actor. He began texting Dixon, first asking him about his goals and career aspirations. The suit states he offered Dixon a job on one of his television shows with the promise that it was a small role that could get a lot bigger, according to the lawsuit, thereby setting up the first stage in a series of escalating quid pro quo offers. Anyway, basically, he's saying that he basically held that over his head. If he took those advances from Tyler Perry, he would succeed. If not, he will eventually lose his role, or his character in one of the shows would be killed off. The point about I'm bringing this out is because a lot of Black people supported Tyler Perry. A lot of Black people, before I say that, who mostly supported Tyler Perry? I'm sure you know the answer, but Black women supported Tyler Perry in those Medea series. Remember all those plays that were real big, right? Real big. I mean, you couldn't go nowhere without you going in someone's house. I remember, and they was watching those Medea plays. They were real big in the streets, right? The bootleg DVDs. Tyler Perry comes out of the Christian church. Now you aspire to be in that world where there's actors and celebrities and artists and singers and rappers, and then you realize this is what you're going into. This is the same game that you hear played with all of these people that later on the accusations come out, like the Weinsteins and all of that. Like, you can get bigger roles. I can, change your career and all of that, and hold those things over the people's heads that want to aspire, you want to be in that world. Then you find out that there's some man that wants to, do some freaky things to you in order for you to advance. That's the same thing right here with Tyler Perry's situation. Is that the cold part is that not only did the Black community, Black women support him, he came out of the Christian church. And you can look at Tyler Perry and see he don't want no woman. You can see it on his face. You can see that demon on his face. Like, he not into women. You know what I mean? You can see it. I don't know. Maybe, does he have any kids? I could be wrong. I'm just saying, but I'm saying as a man, as a masculine man of God, I can see it on a man's face when he is like that. And Tyler Perry is teeming out the ears and out the corner of his crooked smile that, he wants what he wants. The cold part is that our people, or you got your children and your youngsters aspiring to go into acting and all of that, not knowing that they're going to run into somebody like Tyler Perry that's going to ask them to do something strange for a little bit of change. It exactly, Black Rain. That's what I was going to say. It is Holly weird. That's what I call it. We be in Hollywood all the time. Hollywood is not lights and stars. That's not what it is. You go to Hollywood and it is people destroyed everywhere. The Hollywood Walk of Fame is lined with bums with their blankets and their belongings, sleep right there while they have red carpet events. But this is the world that you're going into. And this is what Tyler Perry is, a man that the Christian church has created. A man that preys on other men, not even other black men. He said, I don't want no black meat. I want some white meat. Salaki, excuse me. Pardon me for saying that. But damn, black man gets some money in contract. He want a white woman. Black man that is LGBTQ, he gets some money. He want a white man. Make it make sense. That's sin on top of sin. Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? It's just and Tyler Perry's response was to come on and say he started singing. The one I seen, he started singing, talk about he got the whole world in his hand. Then he tried to talk about a scripture. What's the scripture? I forgot the exact scripture that he tried to recite. That whole idea of like you being attacked and the Lord got you. All of the walls are closing in on you. That's some BS, man. That's Christianity. You can be whatever you want to be, do all of the, grotesque things you want to do behind closed doors. Then when you're exposed, now everybody is against you. The devil is attacking you. That's some BS, man. That's some BS, but this is the fruit of the Christian church. Tyler Perry is the fruit of the Christian church. And I never cared about those Madea plays. I never cared about it in general. A man putting on a wig, acting like a black woman in any capacity. I never cared about it. I remember once Tyler Perry kind of got on and was making movies, I remember Spike Lee said about his movies that it was coonery and buffoonery. Like even his movies were trash to me because they kept regurgitating the same storylines. But black people was going to see it, paying to see it, making him money so that he can buy his studios, his lot, and then, do what he do to actors that just want to be up under his guidance and mentorship. These are people that just really want to truly make it, honestly, just want to make it, not understanding what goes with Hollywood. And Tyler Perry is one of them, but this is the world, that world, you have to understand. It ain't just black people that are doing this stuff. The people that cut the checks and run the studios, this is where they getting it from. So, like I said this when that P. Diddy thing first happened, and you was hearing all these other, that's a monster. But at the same time, think about who taught him. Think about who groomed him. Think about the people that the man that groomed him, or the people he was around to see that doing it like this, these type of parties, it's okay. So yeah, man, I'm off of it. I don't want to spend too much time on this story. I wanted to talk about it. I needed to talk about it. And I think I got it all out, right? Now I want to move on to this story of this sister that was brain dead. You probably seen this story. Let me see if I can get it. And drop the screen. Drop this.
Today, Adriana Smith was laid to rest. She is the Metro Atlanta woman who made national headlines after she was pronounced brain dead, then kept alive because she was pregnant. Friends, families, and even lawmakers came together to pay their respects, including fellow nurses who honored her with the Nightingale Tribute, which is a ceremony performed at nurses' funerals. Family remembering the impact she left on others.
I'm thankful for everything that she's taught me. Her love, her kindness, her wisdom. And I just pray that she covers me moving forward and she guides me to make the best decisions.
The now mother of two causing conversation around Georgia's abortion law after she was forced to carry and deliver a baby while brain dead, inspiring State Representative Park Cannon to present a bill called Adriana's Law, which would ensure a person's end-of-life directives are honored even if they're pregnant.
Now, this is the story of Adriana Smith and let me just fix this. Story of Adriana Smith. She basically was having pains, I believe, in her head. She went to the hospital. They didn't find nothing. They dismissed her. They didn't catch that she was bleeding in her brain. And so she was rushed back the next day and she went brain dead. And I believe this is the same hospital where she worked in the hospital, which makes it even more sad. And because of a law in Georgia, they kept her, hooked up so that the baby could be born. It's very controversial because you have a lot of people that were against that. And of course, the family is going through it, or they were going through it because, she was brain dead, and also of the negligence of the hospital that didn't find the actual problem the day before. And so you have a lot of people that were saying that this is wrong, to keep her alive in order to have the baby, and vice versa. Her mother said that they would name the baby Chance, so that this baby would have a chance at life. I have a different view on it. Like, people say that it is wrong, and now you even heard where it says that the legislator is going to make a law, an Adriana law, in order to say, well, your wishes before death will still be your wishes once you die, no matter what. And the thing is that if this had happened 100 years ago, it wouldn't be possible anyway for the baby to be born. But because of medical technology and advances of medical technology, the baby was born. And you have to say to yourself, this was not possible 100 years ago. This is definitely a miracle that a baby could still be born. Now, what would she say? Do you think she would say, if something was to happen to me, and I'm sure she didn't think anything would happen to her, right? But if something was to happen to me, I want my baby to die with me. I don't think she would say that. I think she would say, I want my child to still be born so my mother and my family could raise my child. I'm just putting, I'm guessing. It's my opinion. But how many people would say that? How many women would say that? Would say, okay, hypothetically, if I was pregnant and some complication happened where I was brain dead, I was going to die, but they were still able to save my child, I would want the child to die with me? How many women would actually say that? Let's be real. Or would they say, I want the child, I would want for the child to still be born so that my mother and them can raise them and that my lineage could go on, you know? And so that's the question here, because a lot of people are saying it was unfair to keep her, hooked up, in order to bring about the child. But the child is like her still living anyway, right? So isn't that what a mother would want? I don't know, y'all. I mean, that's my opinion. I do know. But what do you think? Black Rain said it right here. I think she would have wanted her child to live. That's what I think too, Black Rain. I think she would have wanted her child to live. The problem is that people don't be let me, what should they say? Exactly. Exactly. You brought, Black Rain, you brought out a perfect point. She would have gotten rid of the child beforehand if she didn't want to have it. If she didn't want the child, she wouldn't have been pregnant at that time. And that goes into what you said about, listen, we are so now a society that is dependent on the option of aborting a child. We don't even know when murder is murder anymore. If they would have allowed that child to die too, that would have been murder. It would have been. So the thing is, and I'll say this and I say this all the time, we're going to go back to the love of our people. And, you can't say that you are pro Black or you are for the betterment of your race and your people if you also are pro abortion. Because if that's what you are, then what you're saying is that you're okay with the destruction of your people, because you got to tie that into the history, how we even started to do that, how we even started to abort our children, and what it was really designed for. You got to look up Margaret Sanger. You got to look up that history of the founder of Planned Parenthood to even understand how are we here in 2025 with the likes of 300,000 abortions in the Black community alone a year. How? It's because of the history of America and wanting to get rid of the people who were undesired. And they said, we're going to use pastors to communicate these things to Black women. You go back 100 years, not 100, but you go back 150 years in slavery. This is the same woman that would say, I'm going to get rid of my child. Now I have a choice too, right? Because just because, or my career, I want to go to school, I want to do all these things. That same woman would never on a plantation would have thought to do that to her child. Now there are examples of women, Black women. There's one story of a sister in slavery, and every time she would have the baby, the slave master about a week in or 2 weeks in will come and take the baby from her and sell the baby off. On like the fourth time of her having a child, she killed the child herself because she didn't want the master to take her child. But you got to understand the psychology of where her mind is at after about 3 babies, having going full term with these babies, holding them, loving your baby, and the master comes and takes your baby to sell it to another plantation. At this point, the sister is not even thinking logically. It's all emotional, and she's a wreck because she already knows from the past what is about to happen. You can find some instances of that happening, but you cannot find instances of those women, our foremothers. And we're talking about living in the cruelest and the hardest times that Black people have ever seen. You can't find instances where they would take their baby out, abort their children. This is the same woman that would scream and cry when the slave master snatched her baby from her arms to take it and sell it to someone. Why would they ever think that the baby don't deserve to live, or they have an option, or what, it'd be better. I'm in slavery, but it'd be better if I just take the baby out so they don't have to live a life as a slave. Our foremothers, did not think like that. They did not think like that. We have been brainwashed with the philosophies and the doctrines of America. And now today, our women look at it like, I have a choice. I can do this, or I can do that. I got options. Yeah, I should have used a condom, but I didn't. Yeah, I should have never opened my legs, but I did. But I still have a get out free card. I still can get out of this situation. I'm gonna go into it a little later, but matter of fact, I might be going into it the next. I will know one more story after this, but when we were coming up, you're going to hear me repeat this, but when we were coming up and they had those classes in middle school about sexual education and all that, they made it very clear that when you have a child, your life is over. You can't have the fun with your friends. You can't go out with your friends. You can't do these things with your friend. They made it very clear that when you have a child, now you have a real true responsibility, and you can no longer enjoy the life that you used to enjoy as a youngster anymore. They made that they succinctly made that clear to our generation. This generation, it's like, listen, you got options. You can do this, you can take the pill, you can do this, you got options. You know what I mean? But anyway, sad story. My condolences go to her family, to her mother specifically, because I've seen the interviews with her mother, who definitely was holding back a lot of emotion and being strong for the family through this whole process in order to see it through so that she can bury her baby. And that, now the baby has been born, baby Chance has been born. And she had another son. I think he was 7 years old. And the whole time they were just telling that son that mommy was asleep, I'm sure by now they have broke the news. The son knows now. The funeral was just yesterday. So condolences to the family. I don't mean any disrespect with my opinion and my take. Okay. So moving on. Let's move on. Let me take this away. You know what? I'll do this story next. Let's get this one.
Grieving tonight after a popular fitness influencer and her date were gunned down outside a sushi restaurant in Fontana Sunday night. Gloria Zamora, a mother of 7, and Hector Garduno, a father of 4, were shot and killed, and authorities say her estranged husband pulled the trigger.
Sandra Mitchell has more on this tragedy live from Duarte. Sandra.
And share that estranged husband also was killed by an off-duty sheriff's deputy who just happened to be in the area. This was in a very crowded parking lot, a shopping center with a lot of people around when the shooting started.
Gloria here. I'm at Zoo Culture today. Come and do a HIIT workout with me.
For thousands of women, Gloria Zamora was an inspiration, a mom of 7 dedicated to empowering others through fitness.
We have to get the music right. Does anybody else feel the same?
But Sunday night outside a Fontana sushi restaurant,
reports are coming in that 2 people had been shot.
Zamora and her date, Hector Garduno, were gunned down, police say, by her estranged husband. Garduno shot first. Zamora ran, but her husband chased her down and shot her multiple times.
Once officers arrived on scene, we learned that a female victim had been shot, a male victim had been shot, and then an off-duty San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy engaged the shooter.
An off-duty San Bernardino Sheriff's deputy shot and killed the suspect, Zamora's husband, Thomas Albert Tamayo Lizarragua. Both Zamora and Garduno also died of their wounds.
Instead of you being supportive, you're over here trying to just bring me down, tell me that I can't do this.
The deadly encounter came just weeks after the influencer and model announced on a podcast that she was leaving her husband.
You think you're all that? You think you're all that for you to go and work out and think that you can be on social media? Come on, man. You're not even all that.
Zamora was also a personal trainer and mom to 7, the youngest just 8 years old. Garduno also was a dad to 4 daughters, and now 11 children are without a parent, and Zamora's followers are stunned. Fontana police told me that they believe the apparent motive for this was that the couple was going through a very ugly divorce. We're live.
Yeah, another unfortunate story. But this story, there's a point I want to make about this story. Uh, is that she was going through a divorce. This influencer, I guess she had a big following, fitness influencer, was going through this divorce with her husband, and she aired it out on a podcast, and she was dealing with another man that he had. Well, she had, I think it said what? She had 7. They had 7 children together, and this man had 4 children together. I don't know the particulars. It doesn't say in the story, but it's unfortunate because he probably don't even know what he was getting into by dating her and not knowing the situation that she's in. And possibly he did know, or maybe she downplayed it. But this is the thing. You don't, man or woman, it is not a wise choice to want to get involved with someone that is going through a divorce or a nasty breakup. Reason I say that is because even statistically, it is shown that this is when people commit the most violence, during a breakup and during a nasty or ugly divorce. And so you don't even want to get started and think that you could get something, have something, happily ever after with a person until it's all clear. Just wait till it's all clear. Wait till they're just in the clear. Many times people think like, okay, I can do this and compound this. Let's move. I can move on while I'm still have this situation going on. That is not the case. And even biblically, it tells you, do not do that. Don't do that, because in the jealousy of a man, he's not going to care. Now, even though they was going through a divorce, her husband, he obviously snapped, because he not only took her life, he took the other man's life, who really had nothing to do with nothing, probably didn't even know about him. But when a man is in a jealous rage, there ain't nothing you can do as far as appeasing him. There are many people that are together that and it may not look like that man cares, but see what happens when it start get thrown in his face. See what's happening where it ain't a clear-cut breakup yet. And that man possibly could snap. So my advice to any man, don't deal with no woman that is going through a breakup or a divorce. You let all of that iron itself out first. Just let it. That's some sound advice. Just let it iron itself out. Let it fix itself. If it's meant for you to be with her in the future and things are all clear and ironed out, then it's going to be. If not, there's more fish in the sea. If not, there's plenty of women. You know what I mean? Plenty of women. So once again, I have to make this disclaimer. It is no disrespect to her family or to his family. It's just, we got to learn. We have to learn and take it to heart from these situations. Take it to heart. People ain't, we living in the last days. People are not playing. People are not playing, and demons hop on people, and it's a wrap. You say they snap, but I said demon hop on them, and it's over. A demon hops on this man, and all he does is he tracks her down, and he says, "This is it. I don't even care anymore. I don't care about the consequences. Who gonna take care of my kids?" Said they had 7 kids. 7 kids. That's a long history. They've been together for a long time. 7 kids. Well, it says she was 40. She was in her 40s. So obviously they've been together at least 20 years. They said she was in her 40s and their youngest was 8, meaning they got grown children. They got some children that's probably some young adults. So they've been together and have a long history together. That just don't go away overnight. That don't go away overnight. So be careful. When you seeing a woman and she look good and you know everything looks right about her, but you gotta weigh everything out. You don't want to get yourself into something like that. Now he lost his life unnecessarily. It's truly unfair. It's not right. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure he had good intentions, but he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, or with the wrong person at the wrong time, or possibly with the right person, but just at the wrong time. Should have let that thing air out. Say, you know what? If you want to be with me and I want to be with you, let's just wait till you get your situation clear and fixed and that divorce is over with. And then we can see what we can do. I'm not trying to bring more confusion to your situation. And I don't need that confusion in my life either. I don't need that conflict in my head, and looking around my shoulder because your husband, y'all not fully divorced and he could just snap. That's just wisdom, y'all. Right? Right. They're parentless now. They don't have parents now. They don't have either or. They don't have their mother or their father. And then the 4 girls don't have their father. Right. So let me just drop this. Let's get this next one.
Boy, you still walking up on me, dog. Nigga, you keep talking over here, you the fuck out, dog. Give me what up. Give me what up. You put your hands on me, bro. Give me what up. Don't touch me, dog. Stop killing me, bro. That's all I'm gonna fuck out of here. I'm gonna air you the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here. Stop, you almost got aired out, dog. Go ahead about your business, bro. Slide, bro. Yo, you slide, bro. Slide. Come here, I'm gonna fuck you up, bro. I'm letting you know. Bro, you need to go about your business, bro.
Look at the chair, yo. Look at the chair. You push the chair away. Look. Look at the chair.
Now, this video, the caption says he tried to eat inside of Panda Express. And this is what they're arguing about. So this brother, I'm assuming he tried to eat in Panda Express with his own chair. And the brother that works there is getting at him sideways, but he don't know why he's getting at him sideways because he doesn't realize that he is a Panda Express employee. And on top of that, he's trying to explain himself, but the brother with the job that works at Panda Express, he's going hard on telling him to get the F up out of there, or he gonna do something to him. And then the brother says, I'm gonna air you out. As it, you know what that means. He said, I'm gonna air you out. And he said, don't come back up in here. Don't come back up in here. Like basically telling him, like pushing a line. And I'm like, you don't have to push a line like that, first of all, for any job. I don't understand anybody pushing that type of line and having that type of energy for some company that will replace you the next day. The company will replace you the next day. They don't give a damn about you asking homeless people to get in from in front of the business and you going the extra mile and you losing your life. They don't care about that. But on the flip side, it's like, why is this brother going so hard on another brother over a job? And this brother just wants to eat inside with his own chair. Now, the reason why he have the chair, we don't know. I'm going to take a guess and just say, maybe he's homeless. Maybe he has leg problems or foot problems, and maybe he doesn't want to stand everywhere he goes, so he takes the chair with him. And of course, if that's the case and he's going into a restaurant, maybe he's been able to go in some restaurants with his own chair and sit down and eat. But if he's going in there, he's not going to leave it on the outside to go in and sit. He's going to take his chair with him, right? I don't know if there's any policy or anything wrong with bringing your own chair to an establishment. Of course, it's out of the ordinary, but I don't know if there's any policy or anything wrong, or would a specific business, a specific location even care that, you know, as long as you coming in there and buying a meal, would they even care that you got your own chair to sit in specifically? You know, I don't know, but I'm gonna play it one more time and then I'll talk a little more on it. All right. He said, you didn't announce that. Why'd you grab it? He said, why do I have to announce it that you can't bring in a chair? So this is definitely over the chair, but the level of heat that is on this situation is crazy for it to be an altercation like this. And it just shows you, like, we don't, as Black men, we have a lack of brotherhood. I had a situation, like I said, I posted that video. I had a situation with a security guard, right? But I'm just saying, this is like, we have this pent up animosity against random Black men that we don't even know. We're ready to fire off and tee off over a job on another Black man without having a minute piece of compassion and understanding, trying to understand where they coming from or have some restraint. We don't do that to white people. We don't push that line. I'm not saying that we should, but I'm just saying, look at how we act towards one another in the smallest, minute situations. It's not even that serious. Now, is it that serious? Let's just say this brother did air him out. Let's just say, I'm not advocating for violence, but let's just say this brother aired him out right there. Was it worth it? Is Panda Express, I don't know what Panda Express pays, but is it worth it? Would it have been worth it? Right. Companies don't care about you. What is he even doing trying to fight? That's what I'm saying. Why are you ready to fight? You ready to fight a brother that possibly could just have a leg problem, whatever, because he brought a chair in the establishment to eat. It don't make no sense, but we're willing to go there. And at the end of the day, it becomes what? Senseless violence. It becomes, oh, my baby was a good boy. He was, he never got no trouble. He walked into the room, he lit the room up, he made everybody smile. That's what that would become. But it didn't even have to go there though. Like, why are you pressing another Black man over something so small, over a company that would drop you in a heartbeat, over a company that wouldn't even send your if something was to happen to you, they wouldn't even send, a letter to your family. You will be replaced the next day. They don't care about you like that. And we have to do better with our restraint and how we deal with each other as Black men, because this is totally unnecessary to be this upset. Renee said he should fire his ass for even going outside the building on some bullshit. I agree. Like, it's not even that serious. Once he left the building, it's like it's over with, right? He outside telling him, do something, slide. I'm like, come on, man. No emotional control at all. No professionalism at all. But that's what we do to one another. He said, you didn't even say who you was, boss. You didn't even say who you was, boss. The brother saying, bye, you got 5 minutes. He's acting like a woman. And when I say acting like a woman, he's acting emotional. The brother explaining, you didn't even say who you was. Like, obviously he didn't know that he was an employee. And then in some type of confusion, it escalated and went there. But the brother that is the employee is not showing no restraint. Meanwhile, the brother who is the patron is at least showing that he is trying to level with him and understand and show some understanding. Sister Brownell said it would be different if he was bringing in his own food trying to eat, because then you would be denying that business to make money from you while you're just using their business. True. It's like some businesses, like what they want you to spend something sometimes when to use the restroom or something like that. Like I know gas stations want you to spend something to use the restroom. Sometimes it could be like that. You know what I mean? That it be like that sometimes, which is not no sweat.
That's all you had to do was say who you was, dog. You start touching me, acting all crazy.
He said all you had to do was say who you was. You started touching me and acting all crazy. He put his hands on. He physically touched him. Now, in a lot of businesses, you would be fired for that. You would. A lot of businesses are so sensitive. You would be fired for just having an altercation, let alone putting your hands on someone else. They will let you go. Some businesses will let you go even if you're protecting yourself, but you put your hands on someone and you were all in the right, according to like the police and everything, they would still let you go.
Boy, you still walking up on me, dog. Nigga, you keep trying to here, you the fuck out, dog. Give me what up. Give me what up.
And he's like, you still walking up on me. It escapes the understanding of maybe whoever runs the company, whoever's the manager at that location, maybe he tight with him. Maybe he got job security and he can do what he want to do, but nothing in this says that it is professional. Had this been a white man, he would not have been walking up on him like that. The minute that white man got out the door, he would have let it go.
You put your hands on me, bro. What up? Don't touch me, dog. Stop killing me, bro. That's all I'm saying. Fuck out of here. I'm gonna air you the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here. Stop. You almost got aired out, dog. Go ahead about your business, bro.
Slide, bro.
Yo, you
Slide, bro.
Go anywhere.
Slide.
Come
here and fuck you up, bro. Let you know.
Bro, you need to go about your business, bro.
Look at the chair, y'all. Look at the chair. You're pushing the chair away. Look. Look at the chair.
Sometimes you gotta just leave people alone. You know what I mean? You just gotta leave. You gotta leave. You gotta give your people some grace, because at the end of the day, everybody wants a break. Everybody wants some grace, and nobody is giving it until you're on the other side, and now you want it. And it was just totally uncalled for him to do all of that. That was just too extra, too emotional. Like I said, he got to know somebody. He must be locked in, because he came out there like a, top flight security. That's how he was on him. Like he was top flight security. And it also goes back to the deeper hatred that we be having against one another as black people, as black women against black women, and as black men against black men. There is always some type of animosity, some type of feeling that we are enemies, that we got a problem. Whereas we should understand that we got to give each other a little leeway. And it is nothing wrong. Like, I don't know the policy. I don't think it was nothing wrong with him coming in there with his own chair to eat if he's spending money. I wouldn't think that. Maybe somebody can correct me in the comments or something like that. I don't see nothing wrong with that. But it is something wrong when you go cross the line and put your hands on people, and then you walk up on them and you pretend like or act like you want to put hands on them and threaten them in that manner when you're just an employee. And if you're doing this for the company could care two shits about you. They don't care. They'll let you go in a heartbeat, and they'll replace you in a heartbeat. All right. Black Rain said, so what if he has a chair? So what if he has a chair? See, we all going to be homeless when this dollar collapse, and then these people will be humbled. Yeah. That's definitely right, man. Definitely right. All right. Let me drop this. Let me get to this one. This one is a crazy video, but I need to go into it because black people really think this way. Black people see no problem with it.
I don't know who the fuck need to hear this, but I don't give a fuck what. Hey,
I'm just going to say off top, right? Off top, this man, I think he has a following. He is a part of that community. So I want you to hear what he said, then I'm going to break it down.
Hey, I don't know who the fuck need to hear this, but I don't give a fuck what part of the community that I'm from. The moment I had a child, it wasn't about me no more. And as quiet as it's kept, I don't want to raise no motherfucking sissy. Bitch. How about that? I want grandchildren. Now, if he decided to be a part of that lifestyle, I'm all for it. But I'm not enforcing, encouraging none of that. They say, well, Bino, you don't show no love and affection in front of your child. No, bitch. Two men's kissing ain't normal. What happened to a child receiving love? Receiving and seeing it is two different motherfucking things. And I want him to receive it. He don't gotta know shit about what I do in my bedroom. That's grown folks' business, bitch. I'm raising me around this motherfucker.
Now, first of all, this is a man, like I said, of that community that expresses that he is not raising a sissy. He wants grandchildren. So when it comes to his son, he doesn't do anything in front of the son. What he does in his bedroom is his business, and that's it. It's grown folks' business. He started off by saying, let me, I gotta rewind it.
Hey, I don't know who the fuck need to hear this, but I don't give a fuck what part of the community that I'm from. The moment I had a child, it wasn't about me no more.
Right, Black Rain. That's right.
And as quiet as it's kept, I don't want to raise no motherfucker.
So just right there, the moment he had a child. Now, hear me out for a second. He says he doesn't want to raise a sissy. He wants grandchildren, but also says that the moment he had a child, he knew it wasn't about him. That little part right there is what I was saying earlier. Okay. That's just the truth of how things used to be, right? How Black people used to think is that when you have a child, it is no longer about you, right? When you have a child, it's no longer about you. You having fun, you going out with your friends to the skating ring and all of this stuff, it will stop. It has to stop because now you have this baby. This was what they was pushing out to the kids when I was coming up. Now they're pushing out LGBTQ to the kids. That's what they're pushing out to the kids right now. So the dynamic is totally changing the thought process of what it takes or how life is going to change when you have a child. Then he says, which is confusion, like the brother Black Rain said. He says he's not raising, a child that way, LGBTQ. What he does is what he does. That's grown folks' business. You see, in the Black community, we have that thing in our community, do as I say, don't do as I do. You even grew up in the Black community in the hood. You have all the OGs and the gangsters saying, hey, stay in school. Stay in school. Like while they're being the example and doing what they doing in front of you, they'd be like, stay in school. And like in the household with Black people, you have Black parents that would say, this is grown folks' business. This is grown folks stuff. You can't do this. You can't smoke cigarettes. You can't drink beer. But they do it in front of you. They live the lifestyle in front of you. Kids are not stupid. Kids ain't, naive. Kids are very smart. Very smart. They're smarter than a lot of y'all will give them credit for. They observe. They see what you're doing. And then they grow up and do the thing. They grow up and do that same thing. So he thinks in the LGBTQ world that he can live that life and his son won't aspire to try it and live that life also. He's mistaken, like a lot of Black folks are mistaken. A lot of Black folks, that the things that you do, whether it's smoking weed, smoking cigarettes, doing all type of drugs, living a party lifestyle, living a degenerate lifestyle, living an alternative lifestyle, hating on other Black people, hating on other Black women, hating on other Black men, saying all of this evil stuff. Your kids are going to do it too. They're looking at you. They're going to do it too. that right there is just confusion right there. First of all, you know why it's confusion? You see this a lot. This is the first time I've seen it like this, but you see this a lot on the other gender. You see this a lot with women. You see women that are in a relationship with a stud, but they have kids. At one point in time, they was with a man, but then decided, he broke my heart. Now I'm gonna try this out. Now you see this one. He's in that lifestyle and he has a son. It's confusion, y'all. That's what it is. I gotta take my hat off. The Bible says this. It says, train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they are old, they will never depart from it. You could raise, like a lot of y'all say that it don't matter what you do, a kid is going to do what they want to do when they get older. That is not the case. That is just an excuse to not put your foot down and not be responsible for your children and teach them values and teach them morals and teach them etiquette and manners and all of that. That's just an excuse. You know what I mean? Many people, especially in that community, have come from broken homes, have come from backgrounds where they've been abused, where they've been in homes with drug addicted parents, where they've been molested. That's proven, right? But if we grew up in a perfect world, in a perfect household would be this. Not that you're the richest, not that you got everything you want, but that you have a mother and father, and that they're teaching you righteous morals and principles. Has nothing to do with living in the best neighborhood, being rich, having money. None of that even matters. But those principles do matter. And a child is going to do what they seen their parents, the people in their house do. We all know this. Even if you don't drink now, you tried it. Even if you don't smoke now, you tried it. Even if you didn't do drugs, you tried something, right? At one point in time, if you grew up and that's all you seen, it's all you seen. You see people in your household doing drugs. You come out in the neighborhood, everybody's doing drugs. They're gangbanging. They're doing this. They're doing all kind of foolishness. You're going to fall into that unless you have a strong foundational base from your immediate family. That's how it's going to be. That's how it is, because you can see a lot of successful people. They came from successful families that had those values, and they basically just kept doing it and doing it and doing it through generations in the Black community. It's possible. So imagine if you take righteous things and instill those in your child. You think they're going to forget those things? You think your children are going to forget those things when they're out there in the world, and then they're they're confronted with these situations? No, they're not. When we were growing up, they had a thing called peer pressure. Like, don't do what other people are doing. Don't be a follower, be a leader. You don't even hear that term pushed anymore. They don't even push that no more. You know why? Because social media has turned everyone into followers. Social media has turned every trend into something that people should try and do. So it would go against the objective of what social media is, to start saying, don't be a follower. Don't fall under peer pressure. It would go against social media because it pressures you to do all types of things, to do all type of trends, to follow this, follow that. That's the reality of it. When we was coming up, you couldn't be no follower, man. I said this, listen, this is what I said. I said, when my daughters are of age and they're getting close to that age, I'm going to show them women on my timeline, because I have women on my timeline from one type to the extreme, right? And I'm gonna say, this is not how a woman should dress. This is a 304. I'm gonna keep it real. Don't ever put yourself out there like that. We have plenty of examples for young men to look at and say, this is how you should be. This right here, don't ever be like that. Don't ever degrade yourself, embarrass yourself, or embarrass me. Carry yourself with class, with sophistication, with honor, with dignity, with respect. We have examples now of we have examples that you can look on social media of all type of women and men on how not to be, how not to behave. I'm gonna say, listen, you see this girl right here? You see how she's dressed? You see how she portrays herself? I promise you, she did not have a father in the home. I promise you, she came from a broken home. I don't fault her, but I'm letting you know, when you see people like this, don't think that it's okay just because they're allowed to do it on social media. What it really is we live in a society that makes this stuff okay, that sexualizes women, and it makes money off of it. So that's why it's okay. Secondly, these women and these men, they come from broken homes. They come from families that they were never taught anything better. They didn't have good examples. They didn't have true leadership and true parents. And that's why they are the way they are. Has nothing to do with whether it's right or not, but just understand why they are the way they are. That's what I'm going to do. So all of you, you brothers on there that's doing something you ain't supposed to be doing, acting how you're not supposed to be acting, beware, because I'm going to use you as an example for my kids. All you women that's half naked and you whores on social media, beware, because I'm going to use you for an example to my kids. Right? But I can't live a certain life as Thawahgabar and move a certain kind of way and roll blunts and smoke weed in front of my kids and then be like, what the hell you doing? Why you got weed in your drawer? What the hell who told you to start smoking a cigarette? Come on, man. And you parents are the worst that be like, because when we was coming up, we thought it was cool. When a person had a parent that those type of parents that be like, I'll go get the weed myself. He can smoke with me because I don't want him going outside and buying some weed, and who knows what they're gonna lace it with. So, I'll go buy the weed, and him and his friends can smoke in the house with me. Like those are the worst parents ever. But when we was growing up, we thought that was cool. Like, dang, his mama smoked weed with him. Like, dang, like that's crazy. Like, we thought those were cool parents. They're not cool parents. You know what I mean? They're irresponsible parents. They're parents that have destroyed their children and set their children up for failure. You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't want to hold it too long. Let me get I was supposed to have been done, but let me talk a little bit, and I'm gonna end it with this, okay? You know what? Let me see. No, I can't end it because I got to get that last topic. We got to go into Europeans, okay? Reparations, real quick. I just want to talk about reparations. I was talking about this earlier with my mom. This is something that I brought out plenty of times about reparations. What if Black people were to get reparations? What if Black people were to get a check? Everybody was cut a fat check. I said that within about a month or so, most Black people would be broke. And it's not because okay. The reason is, I will say it that way. The reason is because the damage has been done to Black people. The damage is that has been done to us as a group of people. I won't say individual or something, not individual, but as a group of people in general, is it runs so deep that money won't even fix our problems. What money would do is magnify our problems. It would maximize and magnify the problems that we already got. Many of us have spending problems, drug problems. Excuse me. So you just be able to buy more drugs. You'd be able to, what is it? Go into a deeper debt. I'm talking about, a few weeks afterwards, you'd be like, hey, bro, can I hold something? Let me hold something. You'd be like, nigga, your check was bigger than mine. I know, man. I bought this yacht, and I bought all this Louis Vuitton, and I'm waiting to see if I can take it back. You know what I'm saying? Like the disease of our mind, the materialism that we got in our head, a lot of us would spend the money on things that we don't need. We wouldn't think about, like, you know, buying some land, coming together, buying some property, investing and things of that nature. We would spend it, you know, frivolously, and, you know, on things that don't really matter, because that's what we do now. But the point I'm making is that the spending will be the same. It will just be at a bigger level. But us being fixed is deeper than you know, material goods. The destruction that we have on us, or should I say, the dysfunction that we have on us is bigger than material goods. You know, it's a spiritual dysfunction that we have as Black people. It's spiritual. It's deeper. It's deeper than having some money. Money ain't going to fix that problem. It's not going to fix that problem. You know what I mean? It's going to take for us to realize who we are. It's going to take for us to do the things that we need to do as far as personally, like look at ourselves, look at the problems we have, look at how we act and treat people, look at our personality traits, find out what type of therapy that we need on a personal level. Like we need, you know, a lot of things to fix us, but money is not going to fix us. All it's going to do is make things convenient. All it's going to do is make it easier to do your dysfunctions and buy your drugs, and, you know, be the biggest drug dealer, and buy flashier cars with bigger rims, but it wouldn't fix us. And so that's my take on reparations. Now, and you know, with all that being said, are we owed a repayment? Of course we are. Of course we're owed a repayment. Of course we're owed reparation and reimbursement for the work that our ancestors did. Our ancestors worked 16-hour days and never got paid. And some estimates range that around $13 trillion being paid out to Black people, which is a enormous amount that, you know, and like I know, America will never do that. But is it old? Of course it's old. Will it ever be given? I don't personally think so. I look for a reparation that is bigger than what America could give. And I look for that reparation coming from the Most High himself, right? So with that, I want to go into Europeans. Okay, I'm gonna read this article. Let me drop this. Share this article. And then we'll get up out of here. I appreciate everybody for rocking, for staying in the live this long. Something that will really, that's very, well, not really, but very interesting. Let me pull this up. So this article is from Archaeological News online magazine. You can find this in a lot of places. Came out 2025, March 12, 2025. Says most ancient Europeans had dark skin until 3,000 years ago, a study finds. It says dark skin was widespread across the continent for a considerably long period than previously believed, according to DNA study that has completely changed our perception of the appearance of ancient Europeans. In the study, 348 ancient human genomes from people who lived between 45,000 and 1,700 years ago were examined by a team of researchers at the University of Ferrara in Italy. According to results, pale skin did not become prevalent until about 3,000 years ago, well into the Iron Age. And even though some characteristics linked to lighter skin started to emerge about 14,000 years ago. So the main point, excuse me, the main point is that pale skin, what they're saying, and there's plenty of articles on this, what they're saying is that white people as you know them today, did not exist until about 3,000 years ago. And right here you have a picture of what they call Cheddar Man, which is what the ancient Europeans would have looked like. And I'm gonna get back to that. It says, these discoveries have called into question the long-held belief that as people migrated from Africa to Europe, their complexion quickly became lighter. According to a study which was led by geneticist Guido Barbangiani and evolutionary biologist Sylvia Garotto, early European hunter-gatherers had dark skin, a characteristic that lasted for tens of thousands of years, according to Barbangiani. For much of the tens of thousands of years covered by the DNA samples, 63% of ancient Europeans had dark skin, while only 8 had light skin or white skin. Now, I take a lot of information with a grain of salt, especially when you start talking about that hundreds of thousands of years, like 14,000, they referencing 45,000 years, basically because when it comes to when you look at archaeology and you look at actual tangible structures, livable structures, cities and habitations, the oldest only go to about 10,000, between 10 and 15 sometimes, that they have found on planet Earth, the oldest ruins. When you start to talk about 20,000, 45 million years, you have to show me the settlements in the actual tangible proof that there are buildings and structures that have been found in the ground that date to those times. I'm only dealing with the time period that you can find the oldest dwellings in the world. So when they start saying those big numbers, I'll be like, I don't know about that. But the point is that what they're bringing out is that white people, as you know them today, that light skin started 3,000, just 3,000 years ago. Okay. And to even add to that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video. Let me see. Black Rain said, interesting. They're off some years. Yes, they're definitely off some years. But the thing about it is that they carry the genes of Black people. We know this from the Bible. The Bible tells you that Esau, it gives a description of Esau. Let me take this off. It gives you a description of Esau, and it's the first description in the Bible of anybody, because everybody before Esau were dark skinned. Now it says that Esau came out red and hairy like a garment. It just hasn't described anyone else. Now, the thing about this, it's off some years, but it does put that time around the birth of Jacob and Esau. Okay. So let me get this video, and then I'll get some more commentary, and then we'll get up out of here.
May look European, but his Y chromosome tells a different story. It shows that what we look like may not really tell us where we come from. And it raises a question mark over the traditional image of Adam. For centuries, artists have depicted him like this, like a European. For many of us, this is Adam. Michelangelo's famous painting in the Vatican Sistine Chapel. He looks like a beautiful Italian who spends a lot of time in the gym. Did the common ancestor of all men really look like this? The story of Jefferson suggests he could have looked very different. Finally, Wells comes face to face with the man he's been searching for. A new portrait of the common ancestor of every man today. Adam.
This is what Adam looked like. This is the makeup or the rendition that they came with when they started to piece chromosomes together and DNA together, and said, what would Adam would have looked like? What would what people consider to be the first man, what would he have looked like? And he would have looked like, according to Europeans and National Geographic, he would look like your average Black man, or should I say a Black man, or an African-American Black man. This is what they came up with.
Without the skull, we can't know for sure what Adam looked like. But a combination of genetic evidence, Bender's forensic skills, and cutting-edge computer software suggest he looked something like this. Thousands of years after the Bible, and hundreds of years after Michelangelo, we have a whole new face for Adam.
I like the expression. He's got a very forceful look.
Yeah. So what you see here, this is what Adam would have looked like. And that's why it's, it's unnecessary to get in debates with people that talk about, what color were, the people in Egypt or the people in the Levant. What we know today is the area of Israel and Syria and those places like that, where today you have basically Arabic people who are a mixture of Arabic or Ishmaelite people, a mixture of them and Europeans. It's unnecessary when we know that all life sprang from one place and then it migrated to places like Europe and the Far East. So let me get back to this. Let me see. It says now some things I wanted to add. Okay. Now, this is the image of Cheddar Man. This is what they say that ancient Europeans look like. Now, we know from not only the Bible, but from history, Noah's sons went and populated the region of what you know today as Europe and the Greek Isles. Now, there is a people called the Yamnaya, okay? And these were white settlers or white pastoral hunter-gatherers that when they moved into Europe, they encountered what you see here, Cheddar Man. They would have encountered Black people with blue eyes. These Black people would have been the seed of Japhet, one of the sons of Noah. Now, every white person living today, every modern white person today, their DNA is traced back to the Yamnaya, which were a warlike people that entered into Europe, and eventually they conquered Europe, right? They mixed in with all of the people who are already there. This is the reason why when you look at archaeology and sculptures of the ancient Greeks, you see that the ancient Greeks are actually a Negroid race. But eventually what happened is you had offshoots of white people that went into Greece. They went into places like Italy, and eventually they conquered all of these lands, and they pushed the original inhabitants out of these lands. And so today there's this misconception that European is white, right? Because everything you know from history tells you that the white people come from Europe because it's a colder climate. When in reality, that's not where they came from. That's where they conquered. What's the name said it in the comments. Esau took over Europe. His blessing was the sword. Okay. The Edomites are, today is the white people, are the Edomites being the progenitors of all white people. They were a warlike people and they took over all of these places. You can look up the Sabines. The Sabines were Edomites. They went into Greece. You have different offshoots of Edomites that went into to Greece, to Rome. And that's the reality. But today we have a misrepresentation of what real Europeans were. The first Europeans were Black. History tells you that. And now science tells you that too. So there's a lot of lies to unravel and uncover when it comes to the history of the world and who is who. But we're going to get to it. I got some other stuff I want to get into at a later time. I just want to say that I appreciate brothers and sisters for rocking with me in this live. I hope you learned something. I hope you found something interesting, whatever the case may be. I hope you left educated. Okay. So with that, y'all, I'm going to wrap it up. Let me drop this. I'm gonna wrap it up. Stop the screen. Yeah. So I hope that y'all, enjoy your the rest of your Sunday. Get ready for the week coming up. Prepare for that and just chill and relax and stay out of trouble. Stay out the way, man. With that, y'all, I'm Thawahgabar for Black Authentic Truth. Peace, y'all.